This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. This is absolutely ludicrous, but I hope that something as ridiculous as this sounds, people take serious, because I know people out there are laughing and they think it's a joke. I know people that listen to this channel take it seriously. But Satanists, witches are all gathering together tomorrow at Trump Towers, Friday night at midnight, and across various other locations across the nation every month until Donald Trump is no longer in office, and will be performing a mass ritual. A mass ritual. Now, I want to say this before I get into it, because I know people who listen to this channel are believers in Trump. And listen, I give my opinion and I respect others. I'm skeptical of everything. That's how I always have been, and that's how I am. It does not mean that I don't believe that God can be using Donald Trump. God could be using bad people to do good things or to expose things. And a lot of good Christian ministers who I respect fully have talked to me about this in full. And I fully agree with them that God is in total control. Of course, I feel that way, but that God can be using Donald Trump here. I'm not saying that that's what I believe. I'm hopeful that that could be happening. I'm hopeful, but I always, veer on the side of caution. I always believe that, even if he's a part of it, he's a Jesuit, he's involved and he's the president, that maybe God can still use him just like God can use anyone because God is in control. That being said, whatever your stance is on this, whether your stance is on Trump, whatever your stance is on all this stuff, we're talking about witches and Satanists performing a mass occultic ritual. A mass occultic ritual where they are going to be waging spiritual warfare against Trump. So even if someone, even if we all have the belief, or the majority of us have the belief that Trump is one of them as well, we still need to be in prayer to protect that. Because when they do witchcraft and they do spells, and even, say God is using Donald Trump right now, say that he is. Say that Donald Trump maybe is doing some things that God is telling him to do and he's going against him. Just say that hypothetically, okay? Because we don't know what's going on, what God's doing, who he's using and who he's not. But just say that's going on. Them casting these spells could turn things insane. Because witchcraft, sorcery, and all this stuff is real. I talk about it all the time. They use these children for ritual sacrifices. These witches get together. They put spells on Christians. Need I say more than Scripture telling us about this? Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So we have the witches and the Satanists coming again out of the woodwork. But the masses out there, they hear this and they're laughing. There's even Republicans, people who are, on the Trump bandwagon that think this is a joke and think that it's funny. We're talking about these people getting together, performing a mass occultic ritual. And as Christians, we need to be in mass prayer. We need to be praying against this stuff because this is spiritual warfare. So even if, you don't believe Donald Trump is good and you believe that he's one of them, or you lean that way, or you're waiting to see, your prayers still need to be said to fight against it, because they could turn, these witches and occultists with their witchcraft can turn a good man bad. And that's truth. And I know people laugh at that stuff, but they don't understand how witchcraft and the occult works. You study Crowley's teachings, you study all this black magic garbage, okay? This stuff is powerful and it's dangerous. So how do you think, and why do you think it's so important to them to sacrifice these children and to do these rituals to these kids? If it didn't work, they wouldn't be doing it. This wouldn't be going on. It obviously works, and they see results from it. So this is a really, really dangerous thing. Let me read to you what's planned here. It says, exorcists, witches, and occultists and a number of magical groups are announcing plans for a ritual designed to bind Donald Trump and all who abet him. So that means if you're somebody who supports him, they're trying to bind you as well. So it's a warning for you. If you're somebody who listens to this channel and you get on me about the fact that I think Trump's one of them, and I respect your opinion for that, they're going after you spiritually, okay? They're going after you. So make sure you're in prayer, because this isn't just a spell on Trump. This is a spell on Trump's supporters. This is pretty much an occultic spell on the majority of this country, at least 50% of this country, of people who are supporters of Donald Trump. And that is very dangerous. It's to happen Friday at midnight at a variety of locations across the nation. And again, every month until Trump is no longer in office. So this is going to continue. So it's important for us to get in our Bibles, to silently get in prayer. If you want to get in prayer with others, that's fine. But get in prayer and pray against this. Calling on ministers and pastors out there to get in prayer. The power of prayer is the greatest power there is. It can destroy any of their witchcraft. It can destroy any of their spells. The problem is that Christians never use it. And these occultists and these Satanists are more devout to their Satanism than Christians are to prayer. So we need people in prayer. The rite requiring a stub of a candle, a pin, salt, matches, tarot cards, a feather, and other odds and ends calls on spirits to ensure President Trump will fail utterly. It also includes burning a picture of the commander-in-chief, visualizing him blowing apart into dust or ash. I know when you read it, or I read it, or you read it yourself, it sounds funny. People go, this is pretty hilarious. You have to understand, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not real. Because you don't know it, because you haven't been indoctrinated with it, you haven't seen it on the television set. It's going on. It's been going on. The Bible tells us that this stuff's been going on, that these people perform these rituals, that people are demonically possessed, and they perform these bloodletting rituals, these human sacrifice rituals. And don't think for one second, that when they're including all the things that they're going to be using, that human sacrifice or animal sacrifice isn't involved. Because of course they're not going to come out and go, yeah, we're using a stub of a candle, a pin, salt matches, and a tarot card. Oh yeah, then we're murdering a few cats and a couple of babies. No big deal, right? They're not going to tell people that, but I guarantee you they will be used by the Satanists and the witches during these, rituals that they're performing once a month. I guarantee it, because they do it for regular rituals that they perform. Participants apparently have the option of using a baby carrot instead of an orange candle. Among the various spirits invoked are the demons of the infernal realms. That's who they're invoking. And again, people are going to hear this and they're going to laugh. And I know, people sometimes they'll hear me and they'll laugh and they'll go, oh yeah, because they can't comprehend this stuff. They're so dumbed down. This is real. This is serious stuff. So they're invoking the demons of the infernal realms. There's a Facebook page networking those who want to participate in the ritual. Some media outlets are also looking to film whatever happens. It's not the first time anti-Trump occultists have tried to use black magic against the president. Now think about this as well. People out there who are not familiar with this stuff, who are anti-Trump, are going to engage in this because they're not even going to understand how serious it is. They're going to go, I'll be a part of this ritual. An atheist or just some moron out there, even Christians who are anti-Trump will go, you know what? I'll show up at this thing at Trump Tower Friday night. Sounds pretty cool because I want Trump out of office because I'm liberal. And they'll be getting indoctrinated with witchcraft and Satanism. This is very, very serious. I'm not raising my voice to be dramatic. It's serious because this is going to be an indoctrination for people out there who don't have a clue about Satanism or occultism. They're going to see this stuff. They're going to see it on a small level and they're going to go, oh, it's not a big deal. It's actually kind of cool. I met some nice people. Witches and Satanists are cool. Oh, witches and Satanists are nice. They're not bigots like those Christians out there. No babies were killed. No one was sacrificed. So what's the big deal? That's what they will say. That is what they will say. It says the far-left feminist blog Jezebel, named after the biblical queen who mandated the worship of Baal, published a gushing story on September 2015 about Brooklyn witches of immigrant descent cursing Trump because they wholeheartedly believe that Trump and the rest of the GOP are garbage. Trump evidently overcame the curse along with everything else in his way to win the presidency a year later. Still, Christian leaders believe these kinds of spiritual threats should be taken seriously, condemned, and countered. It shows that the level of hatred against Trump is generated by Satan himself, said a minister. Donald Trump is not a perfect man, but he is trying to stop the runaway freight train of evil that has existed for 8 years, emanating out of Washington and the Democratic Party. This person also goes on to say something that's very actually true. He says, occultism is being normalized in an increasingly degenerate nation. That is very true. The Bible says that in the last days, evil will wax worse and worse. A part of that is that the paranormal is being normalized. Exactly. I've been saying that for a long time. Many people have. And people are seeing it. And it's going on. This article just goes on to talk about people's opinions on what's going on here. But let's talk about the severity of this. Because this needs to be shared. People need to get out there. And people just need to make sure that they're aware of what's going on here. Because you're in spiritual warfare, whether you know it or not. We all are. As Christians, we're under attack all the time spiritually. Whether you realize it or you don't. Whether you're too distracted to see it or you just don't want to see it, it's going on. And the fact that these Satanists and witches are gathering, I'll tell you what, this is a huge concern. Because this is them really coming out of the woodwork now. They're going to show up in public and they're going to go, look, we're normal people just like you. I have a job. I work at Home Depot, so I'm normal. People go, yeah, don't be so judgmental against them. They're nice people. This is a massive, massive occult mass. And it is a massive indoctrination of people out there who are liberal, who are not familiar with this stuff, who think it's not real. Because remember, the Satanists even play the part of being atheists. But these people are going to be getting involved now. We have Satanists, witches, all types of people who study and worship the occult, whatever deities they might worship, getting involved and performing these rituals out in the open. Not underground, not in the tunnels like they normally do, out in the open. And like I said earlier, they do perform animal and human sacrifice rituals. They're not going to do that out in the open, okay? Because they will get arrested or people will go crazy. But they do that. So these people are going to start to be indoctrinated with it at a lower level. They're going to say, it's not bad, it's normal. This is how it's all going down. This spiritual warfare is getting more serious by the day. And I'm not trying to be fear-mongering, because the truth of the matter is, as we see more and more Satanists out there, and we see more and more self-righteous Christians who just run their mouths, whether they have YouTube channels or do other things, who do nothing. They do nothing to glorify God. They do nothing to help wake other people up. They just sit there and point fingers at other Christians' sins and say how righteous they are. Those people are holding down Christianity, and they're killing us in spiritual warfare. We all have to stand in scripture and in prayer. We all have to fight against this stuff, and that's the truth. So whether you support Trump or you don't support Trump, we have witches and Satanists gathering together, performing a mass ritual, and it needs to be counteracted with prayer, period. There's no debating it. There's no arguing it. This isn't a big scam. I know that's how it's going to be played through the media, because I tell you all the time about mind control. Through the media, it'll be, oh, come on. It's just some people, they're just doing it for fun. They're putting a spell on, but spells aren't real. Well, the people involved are taking it pretty real around the United States of America, who are showing up at midnight to perform these rituals because they know it's real. But they know in order to indoctrinate the masses that they have to come across that way. And then they will start bringing them in slowly. They said it's a restraint. This hoax and this spell that they're putting on is a self-defense. They see it as self-defense against Donald Trump. And they're going to be burning his photos. They're going to be burning, using tarot cards, all sorts of stuff. But I guarantee somewhere around there, some type of human ritual or animal ritual will be performed. And people need to be in prayer. So I wanted to do this video because it drives me up a wall, because you guys who listen to this channel, every day for the most part, or every other day, I'm talking about these Satanists and these witches out there, right? I'm talking about them, and they're coming out of the darkness, and how they're indoctrinating people with Satanism, and how they're just, this is just going on and nobody cares, and they're getting into schools, okay? Now they're coming out publicly by who knows how many people are going to show up. We'll find out, because people are going to be filming it. They're coming out publicly performing a ritual, and nobody cares. If this was 100 years ago, these people would be run into cages, if not worse. And now it's okay that they're saying we're wishing harm on him, we're binding him until he's out of office, we're going to do it every month, wish death, whatever they have to do. And people think it's a gigantic joke, and it drives me nuts, because this is going to indoctrinate people out there. That's what it's going to do. And I hate to repeat myself, I'm sorry, but it is so serious. Whenever they get together and they perform these mass rituals, to counteract it with prayer. Okay? Pray by yourself, pray in private, but make sure you're praying. Pray for Trump, pray for his followers, pray for everyone out there. Because who knows what other types of spells they're going to be putting on together as these Satanists and witches start recruiting more and more people from the quote-unquote left. It's disgusting, and it's an embarrassment to me that so many people are still blinded and don't believe that this is true, this is really going on. Oh, it's no big deal. They're just having a good time. Yeah, because they can't see spiritual warfare. They don't believe it because they don't have faith. But they better find it if they don't. Because salvation can only be attained through faith in Jesus Christ alone. The only way to our Father in heaven is through Jesus Christ. So please share this video. Tell people about it. I'm not saying go out there and do anything violent. Nothing happens that way. It's spiritual warfare. You can go out there and you can pray around them, whatever you think is best. I say and recommend to just pray by yourself, but just make sure you're praying. Pray for yourself, your family's protection. Pray for these other people that they're putting this spell on. And pray for our Father to expose these people, for people to wake up and see what they truly are, and how they need to be exposed and called out and shamed publicly for what they're doing and what they've done to this country and this world, how they've degenerated it and turned it into a completely satanic society, and people out there can't even see it. Breaks my heart. I thank you for listening to today's show. Stay strong in your faith. Stay strong in your prayers, everybody. God bless all of you and your families.